Great. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are just letting everyone in from the waiting room. So we'll wait about 10 more seconds and then we'll get started since we are at the hour now. Great. Okay, excellent. So welcome. Thank you for joining us today. This is a presentation of the Boston-Area LLM Consortium. So we are 6 law schools that are located in the New England region of the US. So kind of the Northeast. My school is in New Hampshire. A number of schools are in the Boston area. And then we also have a school located in the state of Vermont and one school in the state of Connecticut. So welcome. We are excited to have you here today, and we are going to talk about everything you need to know about the application. Whoops, was just muted. So we're going to talk about everything you need to know about the application process for LLM programs in the US and how to make your application stand out. You'll see that there is a chat feature here. So we welcome your questions during the presentation. We will, of course, save time at the end as well. So put your questions in the chat. We'll try to answer some as we go, and then we'll make sure to review the chat at the end of the presentation. After we end the presentation, there'll be an opportunity to meet with each of the representatives in breakout rooms. So we'll share more about that when we get there. But for now, why don't we have each of our panelists introduce themselves?
Oop, sorry, I am in control of the slideshow here. I thought I put all of our pictures up here too, even though you can see us here live. I'm Michelle Laitwall, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Boston University School of Law.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Angela Mote, and I'm the Assistant Director of International and Graduate Admissions at Northeastern University, located in Boston.
Hi, everyone. My name is Manal Sahuba. I'm the admissions officer for the LLM programs at the University of Connecticut School of Law.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Bridget Sandusky. I'm the Assistant Dean of Graduate Law Programs at Suffolk Law School in downtown Boston.
And hello again, my name is Sarah Dorner. I'm the Assistant Dean for Graduate Admissions and International Outreach at the University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law, and we're located about 1 hour north of Boston, Massachusetts.
And good morning, I'm Una Till from Vermont Law and Graduate School. I'm an admissions counselor, but also an alumna of the LLM in American Legal Studies and the current academic counselor of the academic advisor, of the program.
And Nima, I see that you're still here. Do you want a chance to just introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, sure, of course. My name is Nima. I'm a graduate admissions counselor for Boston University, our LLM graduate programs. And I'll be here not to really go into the breakout rooms, but helping with moderating if you have general questions about the application process and overall just trying to be a helpful hand.
Thank you, Nima. And Nima just joined us last minute, so I apologize for putting you on the spot, but I wanted to make sure folks knew that you were here, and we appreciate your support today. So here's an overview of what we're going to talk about. We'll start by talking about how to go about searching for LLM programs because there are so many to choose from. We'll talk about how you apply to LLM programs, the actual process for that. And then we'll go into the various components of what makes up the LLM application. So letters of recommendation in your resume, CV, writing your personal statement, you're submitting your official academic records and the transcript evaluation process. And then we will talk about English language proficiency requirements. As I mentioned, once we get through all of that, we'll take your questions, and then there'll be opportunities to connect with the representatives individually to learn more about each of the schools. And I think what we'll do is at the very end, each of us can just kind of highlight the types of programs we offer so you have a better sense of which schools might be a good fit for you. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to kick us off on searching for LLM programs and how to find the right LLM program for you. And I'll start by saying that this in and of itself could be its own session, because as I mentioned, there's so many programs out there. There's no just like one right size for anyone, but lots of different things to consider when you're looking for the right program for you. So what I want to highlight is some different ways to really just start looking for the right program. So first and foremost, the Law School Admissions Council has a directory of LLM programs. You can search by topic area, by region, and you can sign up for their free candidate referral service. So this allows law schools to contact you. So rather than you just having to find them, they can reach out to you. And you can also indicate a little bit more about your interest if there's a certain area of law that you want to study. So it helps schools kind of know who might be a good fit, and then they can reach out to you accordingly. So that's a free service. Highly recommend registering for that service if you haven't already. Similarly, the American Bar Association also maintains a list of LLM programs. And again, you can search by specialization. So some LLM programs are more general in nature, kind of just, American law. Others have specialized area, intellectual property, taxation, maritime law. So you can search, if you know there's a certain area you want to focus, you can search for schools that offer those specializations. And you can also just search by school or by region as well. LLM Guide is another helpful platform. Again, different ways to kind of narrow your search, but many schools have a profile on LLM Guide, and that will link to their school's website. So that can be a good way as well to help narrow your search. And that is not just limited to schools in the US, they have schools from outside the US as well listed on LLM Guide. More and more, I see prospective students turning to LinkedIn. They'll kind of find a school that they might be interested in, and then they'll look up alumni on LinkedIn to find out where alumni are living, what areas of law are they practicing in. I have found that when students kind of reach out directly via LinkedIn to alumni, sometimes the alumni respond and sometimes not. I think they get a lot of messages and they might not see it. So I would suggest if you're looking to connect with an alum and you're not able to connect on your own through LinkedIn, reach out to the admissions team at the schools that you're looking at. Most often they will be happy to connect you with an alum from your home country. Education USA is another great resource. They are through the US Department of State, and they have offices throughout the world, many different locations within some countries as well. And so they are a great tool for helping you as well begin the how to research programs and guiding you on the application process as well as the visa process. So they tend to be experts on your country and kind of what the visa scene is like, and can offer guidance on that as well. But their job is to help students from outside the US who want to come and study in the US. So they can be a great resource. They often host webinars like this. I've done a few with them before in several other law schools, where we kind of do, how to apply or tips for your application. So they can be a great resource. Attending virtual events like this. So this is a great example of several law schools coming together to share information. I think most law schools will hold their own virtual information sessions as well. So take a look at the school's websites, fill out those requests for information forms that most schools will have. That way they can put you into their system to share more information and connect with you individually. I think I speak for all of us when I say that the admissions teams at the various law schools are there to help you. So please don't feel shy about reaching out. We have answered any question you have. We've probably worked with students who had a similar question before. So that's our job. We are really happy to help answer your questions. So we encourage you to reach out and connect with us directly. And then finally, I'll mention, that rankings, I think, can be really important for some people. The U.S. News and World Report, I think, is one resource that students tend to consult. I think it tells one piece of the puzzle, but there's a lot that goes into these different rankings. So I would encourage you to not put all your to not focus only on the rankings. That I think it can be helpful to kind of look at the rankings, especially if there's an area that you want to specialize in, to see what schools have a good reputation for that area of law. But there's so much more to than just the rankings. So use it as one tool, but not the only tool. All right, with that, I'll pass to the next presenter.
Hi, everyone. Bridget from Suffolk. I'm going to speak to you about applying to LLM programs. So if you've already done some research, I think the other aspect to consider is it the right time for you to be going to an LLM program? And that does. It's a very personal and individual decision of whether or not it's the right time for you. It's a question I think all of us always get. Should I come right after school? Should I come? I've been practicing for 10 years. What's the best time? And the answer is it's whenever is the best time for you. So it's really important that you get organized, figuring out what schools you want to apply to. Many of us utilize LSAC as the primary application process, but not all of us. Some of us do accept direct applications, and that's going to vary from school to school. You also want to just make sure LSAC has this great little system for you to make sure that your current law degree is going to make you eligible to pursue an LLM degree. And that is based on LSAC's determination. All of us as individual schools will also make sometimes different determinations than LSAC, but at least it will give you a starting point to know whether or not you need to kind of look into that further or contact other schools about that. Next slide, please. So if most of us, I think, use LSAC, as I said, some of us also will accept applications direct, but the benefit for using LSAC is if you're applying to multiple LLM programs, and many people are, you can request everything just one time. So LSAC is this portal system that you will fill in the individual applications for each of the schools that you want to apply to. And then you're going to request your letters of recommendation to be sent directly to LSAC. Your transcripts will be sent directly to LSAC. Your English language proficiency scores, all of those things only have to be sent one time instead of if you're applying to 3, 5, 6 different schools, instead of sending those documents to each individual school. So it does cost some funds here. Many of us provide application fee waivers. I think typically all you have to do is ask if there's an application fee waiver for the application that we host as a university. And most of us are very happy to provide that. And then there's the electronic application service. The document assembly service is what these are all fees you're paying directly to LSAC, not to the individual law schools. And as you can see, all of them are sort of one-time fees with the exception of the law school report. So each time you say, I want you to send my application materials to this school, then you would pay an individual fee of $37 for each one of those law school reports. Some universities do provide waivers for some of these additional services as well, but that's not as common, but it never hurts to ask as well. Next slide, please. And then the next thing is waiting. And so we know that is always the hardest part, waiting for admissions decisions to be released. Rest assured, we are all working very, very hard behind the scenes to get your admissions decisions out to you as soon as possible. If you are encountering any sort of problems or difficulties as you're navigating the application process, particularly if you're using the LSAC portal, contact their LLM department. They are incredibly friendly, very helpful, and troubleshooting. And you can reach them by phone, by email, and they're there to figure out what's going on. And if you're applying directly to the schools, obviously contact the schools as well. So I think I will pass it on to my next presenter.
Hi again. So I'll take a few minutes to focus on 2 pieces of your application, your letters of recommendations and your resume. So these are sections that help us understand who you are beyond your transcripts and your test scores. So I'm going to start with the letters of recommendation. What one of the first questions we often get is, who should I ask to write my letter? And the best people to ask are those who truly know your work and can speak in detail about your abilities, your character, and potential. For most applicants, that would mean a professor, an academic advisor, or a supervisor who has seen you in action. So that means in a classroom or at work or in a professional setting. Try to avoid asking family, friends, or people you know who know you personally but haven't evaluated your work, because we're really looking for personal and academic insights. Now you might be wondering about academic versus employer recommendations. If you're still in school or graduated recently, at least one academic letter is important. Professors can speak to your critical thinking, your writing, and research skills, which are all essentials in law school. But if you've been out of school for several years, a letter from your supervisor or your employer is equally valuable, as they can talk about your work ethics, your leadership, or your ability to handle responsibility. Then what should your letter actually say? The strongest recommendations are specific and personal. So instead of, she is a great student, a powerful letter might say, she demonstrated exceptional critical thinking during our conversation. So we love to see concrete examples. And finally, how many letters do you need? Most law schools require 2 letters. Some will accept a third or a fourth one if it adds new information. But remember that quality matters more than quantity. So 2 strong letters are far more effective than 3 or 4 generic ones. Now let's talk about your resume. Think of your resume as your professional snapshot, a concise overview of your achievements, your experiences, and your skills. First, you need to keep it professional. Your law school resume should be clean, simple, and easy to read, and use traditional layout. You don't need colors, photos, or fancy designs. And generally, 1 page is best unless you have extensive professional experience. Next, focus on your academic, professional, community, and volunteer experience, as the admissions committees are looking for evidence of engagement, to see that you've challenged yourself, you've contributed to your community, and you've grown as a leader. List your work experience, so your internships, your research projects, and any roles you've had in organizations. If you've been promoted or taken on additional responsibility, make sure to highlight that as well. And then add your skills, languages, and hobbies. These sections might seem small, but they help us see the person behind the application. For example, being fluent in another language, playing an instrument, or volunteering regularly all tell us something about your discipline and your commitment. Also, if you've earned awards, scholarships, or published work, include those 2 as they demonstrate academic excellence and intellectual curiosity, which are both qualities that law schools value. Your resume doesn't need to be long, it just needs to be intentional. So each line should tell us something about you and your potential as a law student. So to quickly recap, for your letters of recommendation, choose people who know your work well and can provide concrete examples of your strength. And for your resume, keep it professional, clear, and focused on the experiences that have shaped you, either academically, professionally, or personally. And together, these two elements help us understand how you think, how you work, and how you contribute to the law school community. Thank you for listening, and I'll pass it over to Michelle.
Thank you. So we'll talk about writing your personal statement. First of all, write it yourself, right? Now that's even more relevant nowadays when you can use AI to assist you and write it for you. But I've been using AI myself too, and I think I'm pretty good at spotting an AI written statement now. So don't do that. Write it yourself. We want to hear from you. We want to know you, and we want to know your own individual self. So write it. Now you can write it and then have someone look at it and help you, or if you want to review it for grammar or something like that, that's different. But we really want it to be authentically showing who you are and why you're interested in the program and the school that you're applying to. So that's the next thing, right? Why are you applying? What do you hope to do with your LLM degree? Maybe a little bit about your background without it being a just a reiteration of what's on your resume or your CV. I like to see like a personal story or some sort of illustration. Maybe it doesn't have to be personal from your life in that sense, but like maybe a work story or something like that. That just kind of makes it a little bit more interesting for us when reading it, and also gives us a little bit more insight into you. And, you might use a story to highlight either a skill that you have or a characteristic of yourself, if you're a hard worker, or if you're someone who's really, you know, um, has overcome some kind of obstacle, or, I mean, I think if you're an international student and coming to the US, I mean, there's an obstacle right there that you're facing. And so kudos to you for even for doing that. That's an amazing first step to, you can talk about that and why you got to this point and how you expect that's going to help you in the future as well. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we don't want to have just a reiteration of what you already are telling us somewhere else. This is your opportunity to talk directly to the admissions committee. Some of us do have interviews, but not all of us, right? So this could be the time that we can get to know you a little bit more than what is just kind of on the paper. I know the personal statement is on the paper too, but it's not in a standard format. It's not in a question. So this is, you get to decide what you want to let us know about yourself. And we're all looking to have people who will, of course, academically succeed, and who have great professional aspirations, and, who are going to be successful in their career. But we also, you're part of our community, and we want to, enjoy your presence on our campus in our school, and we hope that you enjoy being with the other students as well. So we hope to have a little bit of your personality come through in that, and in the personal statement as well. So take your time with it. You might need to draft, a beginning, and then set it aside, come back to it and look at it. We are looking to see your writing skills too in English. So that is important to really check it for grammar and just make sure it makes sense. But I think that really getting an essence of who you are and understanding what your goals are, we want to make sure that our program and our school is the best fit for you as well. So we look forward to receiving, and this one of the best parts of the application process for us is to read those personal statements and really get to know you a little bit better. Thank you.
Amazing. So I will be talking about official transcripts and evaluation processes. So if you can go, thank you. All right, transcript requirements vary by law school, so please make sure that you understand the specific requirements for the programs you're applying to. In general, you will need to submit transcripts from universities, from all university level coursework, which includes both undergrad and graduate programs. Transcripts should include all courses, credits, and grades/marks. If you earned a degree from an institution, you are also required to submit evidence of degree completion and the date of degree conferral. Typically, this would be a diploma or certificate of degree completion. If your transcripts are not in English, please make sure you provide an official translation. How you should submit your transcripts will vary program by program and whether you're applying via LSAC or directly. LSAC has a specific process for submitting academic records, so if you're applying through LSAC, you will need to request that your official transcripts be sent directly from your institution that you've attended. Documents must be mailed directly to LSAC from the institution in a sealed and stamped envelope. LSAC will not accept transcripts that were issued to the student, so you can't send mail directly from yourself to LSAC. If you're applying directly to an LLM program, you will want to check with their specific transcript requirements. Some law schools may accept unofficial transcripts for the purpose of evaluating your application for admission, and if you are admitted, you will need to submit official transcripts prior to your matriculation. So what's the difference between an unofficial and official transcript? A transcript is generally considered an official transcript if it is sent directly to the LLM program from your law school or institution. It typically includes the university seal and signature of the registrar or similar person. A transcript would be unofficial if it's a copy issued to the applicant and it's not in a sealed and stamped envelope. Transcript evaluations vary by school requirements. Not all LLM programs require that your first professional law degree be evaluated by a credential evaluation service. If the program you're applying to does require or encourage a credential evaluation, there are several different options. The first option would be a credential evaluation service such as World Educational Services, also known as WES, or Educational Credential Evaluators, also ECE. You would arrange to have your academic records sent to the Credential Evaluation Service, which would then authenticate your documents and evaluate your coursework for degree equivalency and US GPA. An LLM program might recommend certain evaluation services for applications to use. If not, the National Association of Credential Evaluation Services is a great resource. Their website provides a list of member agencies that provide credential evaluation services. Additionally, LSAC offers applicants an international transcript authentication and evaluation service, ITASE, and LSAT uses AACRAO ARCO to authenticate and evaluate international transcripts. ARCO's report is then included in your CAS report. So please note, LSAC will not accept credential evaluations from outside services such as WES and ECE. Next slide, please.
All right, so now we will talk about proof of English language proficiency, which is a key part of the application process for international students. So since all coursework at our law schools is conducted in English, applicants whose native language is not English are generally required to submit an official English proficiency test score. The most commonly accepted tests include the TOEFL, the IELTS, and the PTE academic test. Most law schools will accept both internet-based and paper-based versions of these exams, depending on what's available in your country. If you've completed your undergraduate or graduate degree at an institution where English is the primary language of instruction, or if you've studied in an English-speaking country for a significant period of time, you may be eligible to request a waiver for this requirement. But that does depend on the school you are applying for, as different schools may have different guidelines regarding this. Each of these waivers is reviewed on a case-by-case basis. So if you think you might qualify, we recommend reaching out to the admissions office of the school and reaching out to them early to discuss your situation. And the goal here is really to ensure that every admitted student is fully prepared to succeed in a rigorous, discussion-based legal environment, one that relies heavily on reading, writing, and oral advocacy in English. In terms of your application, your other application materials, especially any written materials that you submit, like a personal statement or a legal writing sample, those are also used to help determine your English proficiency. And in some cases, in some schools, like at UConn, we do conduct an interview as part of the application process. And that's just another way to also assess your English speaking abilities. So, next slide.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. What we'll do now, as you think about any questions you might have, and again, feel free to put your questions in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand, we're happy to answer your questions that way as well. While you're thinking of those questions, what we'll do is just kind of, again, briefly let you know a little bit about our schools and what LLM programs we offer, so that when we move into the breakout rooms, you'll know which schools you want to visit. Michelle, do you want to go first?
Sure, and I'm going to leave this slide up just in case anybody wants to, jot down the email addresses or something like that, or take a screenshot. So again, my name is Michelle L'Etoile, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Boston University School of Law. Boston University is surprise, located in Boston. And it's right along the Charles River. Actually, this view behind me is the view from my office. So you can see we're right there along the river and can see most of the city facing out there towards the east. So we offer 4 different LLM programs and also a 2-year LLM program. So we have a general one in American law, we have an intellectual property, banking and financial law, and also taxation. The 2-year LLM program is if you want to have a little bit additional, English language preparation. The first year focuses on that a lot, and then you can go into one of the LLM programs for the second year. We have a couple non-LLM programs. So if there's any of you who are not lawyers, don't have a law degree, you can ask me about that in the breakout rooms. But the law school has a long history of being very open and welcoming to students from its very start and its very beginning. So we're happy to welcome all of you, hopefully to apply to Boston University. I'll pass it along to my next colleague.
I'm not sure if we're going to the side or we're going to go down, so I'll go next.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Bridget Sandusky. I'm the Assistant Dean of Graduate Law Programs at Suffolk Law School. And we often refer to Boston as our campus because we are located right downtown in the heart of the city, within a few minutes walk of, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, to the State House, to Financial and Government Center. So it's really in the middle of everything, which makes it really convenient to go to networking opportunities as well as to do externships during your LLM program. We offer a variety of different LLMs and some degrees for non-lawyers as well. We have a general LLM, which is really aimed at students that are looking to maybe qualify for a bar exam in the United States. We have an LLM in global law and technology, which has 4 specializations embedded within it as well. And students can earn up to 2 specializations in emerging areas of the law, like IP and IT, international law and business. And then we have a brand new, the first STEM designated LLM program in the United States, which is an LLM in legal innovation and technology. So that allows you to complete the degree focusing on what we've all heard and talked about, how to use legal artificial intelligence to be better lawyers. And that allows you to stay in the United States to up to 3 years after you complete your degree, as well as in a Doctor of Juridical Science. So if that's something interesting to you to pursue after your LLM degree, and we offer an integrated master's program. So if you need additional support in English language skills, we have an IMP with our LLM, and that you can have take LLM courses at the same time as you are taking some English language support courses. That's either for 2 semesters or 1 additional extra semester and then going and transitioning directly into the LLM program. So if you want to learn more, please come and join me in my breakout room. Thank you.
Cool. So I believe it's me, Angela Mote from Northeastern. Is that correct? Amazing. Okay. Yeah, so Northeastern is happy to offer 2 on-ground programs. We have our on-campus program for 9 months, which is the fall and spring semester. And then we have the on-ground experiential LLM, which is 12 months. So that would be fall, spring, and summer because we offer co-op. So Northeastern's known for its experiential learning, which is kind of like a hands-on professional training. It's in line with CPT, if you guys are familiar with that, for international students working. The experiential learning is basically a placement in either the United States, or you can also do it abroad as well, where you can learn hands-on from the things that you learned in your LLM and apply it to real working settings. You're working 4 hours a week, you're a professional. We also have an online program that is normally for individuals who need a more flexible schedule, or again, can't come to the States or are cemented in wherever they are. Yeah, so that's a quick overview of our programs. And if you would like to hear more, I'd love to see you in our breakout room.
Hey, I believe I'm next. Hi, my name is Manal Sahuba. I'm admissions officer at University of Connecticut School of Law. We are located in Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford is the capital city of Connecticut, so just about an hour and a half away from Boston. We offer 6 specialized LLM programs. We have our U.S. Legal Studies LLM, Energy Environmental Law LLM, Human Rights and Social Justice LLM, Insurance Law LLM, Governance, Risk Management and Compliance, and Intellectual Property and Information Governance. And all of our LLMs are for full-time students, are 1-year programs, 24 credits. We also have, we're also launching an executive LLM, which is a fully online executive LLM degree with a focus in U.S. law. And this program is open to students around the world who've obtained a first law degree and are interested in enhancing their background in U.S. law. And students who complete the degree may be eligible to sit for the bar in some jurisdictions in the United States. So that is the purpose of that program. In addition to that, within the U.S. Legal Studies LLM, which is the general LLM for U.S. law, there are 7 concentrations that you can choose from, which include human rights, tax, insurance, energy, environmental, compliance, and it gives you the flexibility to choose classes and if you want to pursue the U.S. Legal Studies LLM, but you also have an interest in human rights, you are able to have the flexibility to take human rights courses to complete a concentration within that. So that's an overview of our programs. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I see the questions coming in, so that's awesome. We'll turn to those in just a moment. Again, the University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law is located in the state capital of New Hampshire, which is Concord. We're 1 hour from Boston, and we offer 3 specialized LLM programs. Our primary area is intellectual property. Our law school was founded over 50 years ago by inventors and entrepreneurs with the focus on IP. So we have a worldwide reputation for that. That program can be completed in person or online. We have another in-person LLM that specializes in commerce and technology law, and then a fully online LLM in international criminal law and justice. As you can see behind me, it's a really beautiful setting here in New Hampshire. I think our students come and they really appreciate the real community feel, not just in the law school itself, but within the broader Concord community, and know that they still have access to Boston just 1 hour away by bus. So the other thing I would mention about our school is that our academic success team works really closely with our LLM students to ensure their success while they're here, as does our career services team. So they are meeting with our LLM students from international student orientation to help get to know them and support them with their goals post LLM degree, whether that be to pursue optional practical training here in the US or to return home to work. They are there for you. All right, we'll do one more intro.
Hi again. So I am Mathilde from Vermont Law and Graduate School. We're the only law school in Vermont, and we're about 2 hours and a half-ish from Boston. We offer 5 different LLMs. So there's the LLM in American Legal Studies, which I studied in, that is designed to help students take the bar. Then we have more specialized LLMs, such as environmental law, energy law. We have animal law, and an LLM in food and agriculture law. So all the specialized LLMs are available fully online. And for those who do not have a law degree, we also have a master's degree in those areas. And I'll be happy to chat more with you in the chat room, in the breakout room.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm gonna just take us through the questions here in the chat, and then I see that there's at least one hand raised as well. The first question was about evening programs, I think. And it looks like I think schools have kind of individually responded to that about whether we hold night classes or not. Um, okay, so that's been addressed. Do US permanent, and then there's some questions about work restrictions. Sorry, guys, I'm having a hard time keeping up with the flow here. And it looks like, has that been fully addressed as well in the chat?
Which question is it?
Well, it's funny because I'm seeing the responses before I'm seeing the question, the way this is showing
Yeah.
in the screen. Can I just ask the representatives, have you addressed all of the questions in the chat in writing?
I'm answering one now that
Okay,
someone had
so
asked me
maybe
directly.
I see a new one coming in about, it says in 2026, I have some assignments to comply in my homeland. Want to attend an in-person program. Will I have a chance to attend a further program and enjoy scholarships and fellowships too? So if the question here is about kind of the timeline, most LLM programs require you to have completed a first professional degree in law before you can begin at an LLM program. You can certainly apply while you're still earning your first degree in law, but you would need to have completed all of the requirements for that program before you enroll in an LLM program in the US. We've definitely seen sometimes that students might have completed the work and they're just waiting for the certificate to be issued, and typically schools can work with that. There are some schools that do have a requirement for a certain number of years of professional study or professional experience. So just check. I think not all schools have that, but that would just be a good thing to check if you're applying straight from your undergraduate degree. I see that there's a hand raised. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this, but Vebavi, did you want to unmute yourself and ask a question?
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hi, pleasure to meet you all. Thank you so much for taking out your time. I actually have a lot of questions. I'm gonna take a while. I hope that's all right. So I would like to just give a bit of my background before I ask my questions. So I have a postgraduate law degree because I was in a different field before that. So in that I had a specialization in intellectual property, and since like second semester onwards all I've achieved is in intellectual property and technology law. That's like only the only thing I'm focusing on. So I just have a few questions with that in mind. So could you just walk me through the difference between general LLMs and specialization LLMs, and whether I should just go for the specialization or should I just still try to explore more?
That's a good question. I'll jump in with it because we do have an LLM in intellectual property and also a general LLM, and I think a few of our other schools do as well. So if you guys want to jump in afterwards as well, it does depend on what you want to do. And it sounds like you're very focused and you know already that you want to, intellectual property is your thing. In that case, I would encourage you to do the intellectual property LLM because you're going to get even more substance in that area. For our program, you could still take the bar related classes that you need. That may or may not be the case for some of the others that are specialized, because sometimes the specialization, you need to take so many in that area that you don't have time to take the other like bar related classes. But for others who are, or if you want to explore a little bit more, maybe you think IP is where you want to go, but you're not quite sure, then a general LLM might be helpful. So for our general LLM, you can then focus in on IP within the general LLM, or I'm sure with some of the other general LLM programs from the other schools here, you can just decide, if you want to take more IP classes or if you want to branch out and take some other classes. So, but my colleagues jump in if there's something else that she should consider in her decision.
I can jump in. So UConn Law, we also have our general U.S. Legal Studies LLM, and we also have the Intellectual Property LLM. I would say the main difference is that, again, what your goal is. If your goal is to sit for a U.S. bar exam, then that's where you would want to take the general U.S. Legal Studies LLM because that gives you the flexibility to enroll in those bar required courses. Whereas the specialized LLMs, because there are other required classes that you need to take, you don't always have the flexibility to take the bar required courses at the same time. But if your goal is really just to focus in on intellectual property, and taking the bar is maybe not your top goal at the moment, then definitely we would encourage you to pursue the intellectual property LLM. And we also have a concentration in intellectual property within the U.S. Legal Studies LLM if you want to try to take the bar required courses and also take a few more credits to earn a concentration in IP. It does require a bit more credits than just sticking with the one LLM program, but that is an option. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would suggest, if there's, as I think there's several schools here with IP programs, so during the breakout session time, feel free to pop into our different rooms and we can talk you through it. As I mentioned, we're an IP school as well, and students do come and they can, with careful planning, they can meet the requirements for the IP LLM and take the classes that they would need to be eligible to sit for the New York bar exam. So kind of the best of both worlds. But it is a personal decision, so we're happy to kind of talk with you one-on-one about that too.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you.
Yeah.
That was really insightful. I just have a few more questions. I won't take up too much time, hopefully. I just want to ask about research opportunities and fellowships during LLM, like a professor supported. I mean, are students more like are they like doing these things, or is just LLM so like heavy? It's like a heavy load, and they're not able to like really do this, or are fellowships common during LLM, after LLM? And also possibilities of PhD with and after the LLM. Like, how are students doing it? Is it supported? And like future prospects in the research area mainly.
Yeah, I'm happy to start and respond to that. So I think I get a lot of questions about kind of fellowships or RA or TA. They're not so common for LLM programs. They're rare to find. I think there are often opportunities for students to work on campus on a very part-time basis. But that's not built into like a financial aid package to help with your overall funding. In terms of research, I think this will vary a little bit from school to school and LLM program to LLM program. I know for many classes that you'll take, there'll be a research component. I know here that students also have opportunities to pursue an independent study under the supervision of a faculty mentor if there's an area that they really want to do a deeper dive into to do that research. In the US, law PhD programs are not so common. Most of our law, not all, but most of our law schools are part of a bigger university that will have PhD programs in related areas. And then some schools might have an SJD program as well for continued research. So I'll pause there and see what others want to add.
I want to jump in here. So I would advise to check, yes, each school and each program in particular that you're interested in, because they might all be different. Like for instance, we have a fellowship opportunity in our LLM in environment in energy law, sorry. That is a fully funded program, plus then there's a stipend as well. So and this fellowship is fully research in addition to the LLM. So it's very particular, but all the schools have different practices and different offerings for their LLMs.
And I'll just speak on behalf of Suffolk. We have had, if students if they're interested in being a research assistant, I think most of them have been able to do that. Teaching assistants, I think, are much more complicated, and we do not offer any fellowships. We do offer a Doctor of Juridical Science at Suffolk for our LLM students who are primarily looking to pursue an academic career in their home country, home jurisdiction. And our SJD program is open to any student who completed an LLM at an ABA accredited law school in the United States. You'll just want to pay close attention to that. Some schools will only accept applications if you completed their LLM program. And so if you have an LLM from a different university, different law school, you'll need to complete an additional LLM simply to be able to apply to that other SJD or PhD program in law. I'm happy to speak more about that if you come to visit the room.
Thank you. I just have one more question to ask. Honestly, executive LLM is something which is a bit confusing to me. So could someone like explain the concept of that? As you know, whenever I just go through websites, that's just like something I do not know much about, and my research in that has not been useful. So if someone could just make it a bit easy for me.
Are you asking about the executive LLM? Is that correct? So that's our LLM program, which is the right now the only fully online LLM program that we offer. And it's the only classes offered in that program are all bar required courses, specifically for DC bar, and it's essentially it's very similar to the U.S. Legal Studies LLM, except this one is fully online. And it's geared towards those who want to take the bar. There are several jurisdictions that you have to keep in mind if that's something you're interested in that do not accept online credits. For example, I believe New York Bar does not accept online credits, but the DC Bar does. So most of the students enrolled in this executive LLM program are interested in taking the DC Bar. So that's basically what this program is. Does that answer your question, or is
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, everyone. Thank you for your time, and thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. I think it probably did help others too, who maybe didn't even know they had questions like that. So I think all of us have been busy trying to answer questions in the chat. Do we want to move to the breakout rooms to continue answering those questions, or should we stay here and answer as a group?
There's one, Michelle, that just came in that let's make that be our last question that we can just answer live. I'm having such a hard time tracking the questions as the answers are coming in because it like disappears from the screen. But the question is about students who studied, had their bachelor's degree where I think English was the medium of instruction. Would they still need to submit proof of English language proficiency? I think, again, this will vary from school to school. At UNH Franklin Pierce, we will accept a bachelor's degree where English was the medium of instruction. If any other schools would accept that, do you want to just quickly unmute and say you would accept it?
Sure, at BU Law, if the medium of instruction at your law school or undergraduate school, it's not always the same, was in English, then we will accept that, and that you wouldn't have to take a TOEFL or an IELTS score.
Northeastern is the same policy. So if your degree, whether that's your law degree or another degree is conducted in English, that's sufficient for our English requirements. And we also do accept Duolingo in addition to TOEFL and IELTS.
That's the same policy at Suffolk as well. And we also do accept Duolingo, IELTS, and TOEFL.
And that would be the same for Vermont Law. We also accept the Duolingo test. And if you studied for more than 2 years in English, or if you live for over 2 years in English, we conduct interviews, and then we can waive this requirement.
Same at UConn. If you've received a university level degree in which the method of instruction was in English, then then we can waive the English proficiency. We do not accept the Duolingo, but again, TOEFL, IELTS, PTE, we accept, but there are opportunities to waive that requirement.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, I think what we'll do now is open up the chat. And I am just seeing though that there a question hiding in the Q&A about LSA's coupon code. And I think that was already addressed during Bridget's portion of the presentation. So perfect. So I'm gonna open up the breakout rooms. You are able to kind of move in and out between the different rooms. We encourage you to stop in and visit more than one. And then Nima from BU is still here. He will stay in this main room. So if you get stuck or need help moving between room to rooms, or you just want to talk to him about what it's like being an LLM student, he's there to assist. So let me see if I can get those rooms opened up, and then you can go ahead and I guess we'll give the representatives a moment to move into their rooms, and then we hope to see you in there. And thank you again for joining us today.